Hi friends. Okay, so I know our morning meeting went a little long with our awards and some announcements, and I know some of you weren't able to stay on for our lesson. So I thought I'd record our lesson. That way you can go back at a later time and either review it if you were present or see it for the first time if you had to log off. So today's lesson is about finding perimeter and unknown signed lengths. So if you were with us for our live lesson yesterday, we talked about how we find the perimeter, which is basically finding the distance around a shape or an object. And I emphasize the word around because we've focused a lot of time this year finding what was inside, finding the area, and now we're going around it. Okay, so here's our first one. Now in our live lesson, we did do a little bit of a reteach as well as a daily review to kind of get our mindset. But for you guys, we're just going to get right into it. So if you notice on our first problem right here, you have three numbers. And so, but I noticed that one number right here is X. And so we know that X is going to be anything that we are looking to find. It is an unknown number. And that's what we're trying to find here. So when we find our perimeter, we find the distance around. And in doing so, I'm going to add, I know that my perimeter is equal to 30. And so 30 is equal to 8 plus 12 plus, oops, sorry, that should have been a plus, not an X. I got a little excited there, plus X. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the numbers that I have that I can add. So 8 and 12, and that gives me 20. So 20 plus what is going to give me 30. And so this just kind of goes back onto your fact family days. So what plus 20 is going to give me 30. And so I know that X is going to be equal to 10 centimeters. So X here is 10. And if I were to put 10 in here, I would get 8 and 12 equal 20, plus my 10 gives me 30. So I can check and make sure that I get the correct answer. For number 4, again, it gives me that perimeter of 25. So I know that 25 is going to be equal to all these numbers added up together. So I have 4 plus 4 plus 7 plus 7 plus S, meaning S is going to be that other side. It doesn't matter how you order these numbers because we know that addition, like multiplication, is commutative. So you're still going to get the same sum regardless of the order of the numbers. So I just laid them out like this, just kind of going around. I want to make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because sometimes that's a common error that we miss one of the numbers. So of course our side is going to be off because we missed one of those numbers. I'm going to go ahead and do my doubles first, so I know 4 plus 4 is 8, and then 14 is going to be equal to that 7 plus 7, and I also have that S, that extra side there, and this is all equal to 25. So my next step is going to be just like we did in the other problem. I'm going to add the numbers I can. So 8 plus 14 gives me 22, plus S is equal to 25. And again, that fact family telling me that, I'm going to just move over here, S is going to be equal to 3 because 22 plus 3 is going to give me 25. And I could put 3 in right here. Okay, my next problem has my perimeter here is going to be 24. So again, my perimeter, I'm adding up all the numbers around. So I have 6 plus 8 plus n is equal to 24. So again, I'm going to add the numbers I know how, or the numbers that I can, not that I know how. But so I have 14 plus n is equal to 24. And I know that n is now going to be equal to 10 inches because 14 plus 10 gives me 24. Okay, my next slide, I have two problems here. I have one is going to be my perimeter and of this interesting shape here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. So I know that on a side note, this is a quadrilateral. So it has all 4 sides and it's going to have 4 angles. clearly looking at this shape, they're not all the same length. So I'm going to, again, add my numbers because I'm finding the perimeter. So I have 4 plus 12 plus 9 plus x is going to be equal to 30. And again, we're doing the equal to 30 because in this particular lesson, we have that unknown side. When I go to add, I'm going to look for numbers. Okay, so I'm going to add the 12 and the 9. And so I know that if I take the 1 from the 12 to the 9, it makes a 10. So 11 plus 10 is 21, plus x is equal to 30. So this is going to then be 25 plus x is equal to 30, and x is going to be equal to 5, because I know 25 plus 5 is equal to 30. So this here becomes a 5. Okay, just getting rid of this part right here so that I have room for my next problem. I have my perimeter here is 37. So I'm going to add up all my sides again. So I have 9 plus 9 plus 5 plus x equals 37. When I add these, I have 18 plus 5 is 23 plus x, and this is really going to start tapping into that number talks that we did and having our number sense at the beginning of the year, is going to be equal to 37. So I can do this a number of ways, friends. I can add up from 23, start at 23, put it in my head and count up until I get to 37. I can use my number bonds and know that 37 minus 23 is going to give me x, or that missing number, because it's part of that fact family. So here, when I'm just going to go ahead and add up. So I know 3 plus 4 gives me that 7 ones, and 2 plus 1. So my x is going to be equal to 14. And again, I can add up all my sides again as a way to check to make sure. So I have 18 plus 19, 18 plus 19. And again, I got that from adding these two, which is 18. And my 14 and my 5 got me 19. And this gives me, let's see, this is 17 plus 20. So again, that gives me 37. So now I've checked and I've proven my answer. Okay, my next slide here, again, just some more practice. And so if you are watching the video or you're kind of replaying it for a review, you can pause at any time so that way on a sheet of paper, scrap of paper, Post-it, whatever you have, you can work out the problems as well. So again, I see here that the perimeter is given to me. So I'm solving for that mysterious side length. And I have a trapezoid here. And I know it's a trapezoid because it has opposite sides, only one pair of parallel sides. So I have my 14 plus 7 plus 7 plus x is equal to 37. And I know some of you already knew that 7 plus 7 here is equal to 14. So you might have already did put the 14 here. I don't know where my marker's going here. Okay, let's try that again. So as I was saying, some of you knew that 7 and 7 made 14, so you're like 14 plus 14. And so I know 14 plus 14 gives me 28, and then 28 plus that x gives me 37. And so when I do my math, or I can either count up, so I have 2 gets me 30, and then my 7, so x is equal to 9. And 9 is my answer here, 9 centimeters. Okay. Question 9 here, it gives me the perimeter of 18. So again, I know that I'm going to add up all these sides, but I'm going to say, wow, that from my previous problem, I know that this is 14. 14 plus x is equal to 18 feet. So x has to equal 4 feet. And one way that I can also check, friends, is if I'm putting this in, this 4 here should be, and I'm pointing here, it should be smaller than the other sides. Just like up here, This side is a little bit longer. If it's drawn to scale, then it should kind of give you an idea to tell if it's reasonable or not. All right, so our last problem here is that FSA style question. Even though we're not taking FSA this year, you are going to be experiencing these kinds of questions. All right, it says Mark draws a quadrilateral. And so again, there's our vocabulary word embedded into our word problem at the right with a perimeter of 28. So I know right away that this is going to equal 28. Select the numbers from the box to write and solve an equation to find the missing side length. So that's what my question is asking me to find here. So I know that I have x plus 11 plus 3 plus 9 is going to give me 28. And then I'm going to go ahead and solve. So 9 and 3 give me 12. So 11 plus 12 is equal to 23. So 23 plus x is going to give me 28, which means that my missing side length is equal to 5 centimeters. So now that we've done this review, you're simply going to go onto your Canvas and go ahead and complete the assignment for math. If you need any help, don't hesitate and reach out.